Welcome back to Bible Prophecy in the News. And if you want to know the truth, if you want to go trick or treating, remember those words. You have to check out this video and this channel if you really want to know what's going on in the world. The Changing World Order by Ray Dalio. If you really want to know, if you really want to go trick or treating and get a little treat, go check this out. I can't make you go to it. All I can say is I can lead you to stuff and point you to some things, to look at some stuff. I can't make you think for yourself. But this video is going to fall under the lines of wars and rumors of wars in the Bible, as in Revelation. This dude has some interesting articles, some interesting videos. I will link at least one of his videos in the description, if I remember to. But how we're actually in World War III, and our own media isn't even reporting on it properly for us. But how is Gog and Magog going to play into this? That's been Bible prophecies in the news. I'm going to leave y'all with the rest of listening to this old boy right here. Y'all have a good one.
Thinking World War III has begun. I kept telling people this is being aired on Russian TVs. Their media is just like ours, except it's not like, CNN. They actually tell their people of dangers. And they've been telling their people they're at war with the United States and NATO. The only ones that's denying it is your government. Not saber rattling, it's literally everywhere. It's about to go down, buddy. And it's April 26th. There's another one. Engaged in war with NATO tells the West to stop supplying weapons to Ukraine. And the last one was talking about them already hitting those weapons. Russia has also warned Britain for provoking Ukraine, telling Ukraine to go and shoot long-range missiles at Russian territory. China even jumped in and said no one wants to see a world war. China on Russia's nuclear conflict warning. Don't forget about the Finland and Sweden fast-track NATO membership after they apply in mid-May. They're even threatening Japan over the United States naval exercise. China is even warning of conflict between Chinese and American troops, as they warn of armed conflict with the United States as well. Australia is even preparing for war with China, saying they need to prepare for war as escalating threats emerge from China and Russia. The only reason people in this
time is running out for you and your family to get ready for what is coming. There are media claims going through Russia right now saying that a decision has been made for Russia to go to war with the United States of America and NATO. Russia cut off all gas to Poland today. Poland has said that it will soon enter into a new offensive stance against Russia. Unofficially, we are seeing a red line in the sand being drawn. We expect Russia to issue decisive ultimatums for the United States of America and for NATO to adhere to, which we note the USA and NATO have already said that they will not adhere to these ultimatums. And once they are not met in full demand, we will likely see physical confrontations escalate into all-out war between Russia and the West. According to the Russian Foreign Ministry, Lavrov has openly claimed that NATO is already engaging in a physical war with Russia through the arming of Russian opposition in a way that causes a direct loss of life to Russian soldiers and through economic damage brought onto the Russian people through sanctions and other types of seizures. The claim, according to Lavrov, and so by proxy, the country of Russia, is that the weapons that are being sent from the United States of America and other NATO allied nations will be from this point forward, including those that are transporting those weapons. So that could be American, it could be NATO service people. Those will become legitimate targets for the Russian military to neutralize as they see necessary. There is a very real risk of nuclear war right now, Lavrov continues in a return to the growing international concern that nuclear war is about to break out. The risk of nuclear events shouldn't be underestimated, he says. He told state-controlled media that if World War III is to take place, it will involve nuclear weapons and it will be massively destructive. Continuing, the Russian Foreign Ministry openly claimed that Poland intends to send troops into the conflict area against Russian soldiers under a guise of NATO peacekeeping flags. In response to the growing likelihood that we will see a cross-border war in just days or maybe even weeks, Russia summoned the German ambassador before declaring 40 diplomats from Germany persona non grata. There will be hell to pay. One Japanese media spokesperson is quoted as saying, after Russia claimed that it will fully develop and invest in the contested Kuril Islands, the region in northern territories of Japan, that the government declared Russia is illegally occupying since World War II.
As the conflict in Ukraine enters its third month, the United Nations Secretary General has embarked on a diplomatic mission to Moscow. Antonio Guterres took part in talks with President Putin, after which the Russian leader repeated his stated reasons for invading Ukraine, while claiming that he still hoped for a diplomatic solution. In a major policy move, Germany has now authorized the supply of dozens of tanks to Ukraine, and the US has committed to supporting Ukraine's resistance for the long haul. Our Russia editor, Steve Rosenberg, reports now from Moscow.
He was trying to show it was business as usual. In the Kremlin, Vladimir Putin began the day meeting Russian Olympic champions. Like them, he hates losing. With the Olympians, Putin was up close and personal. Not so with his next guest. The UN Secretary General had come to talk about Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The seating plan said everything about the gap between Moscow and the international community.
You're telling me that Russia's humanitarian corridors in Ukraine are not functioning. Mr. Secretary General, you've been deceived. The corridors are open. We've helped more than 100,000 people leave Mariupol.
And from the UN, a plea to Russia for peace.
It is my deep conviction that the sooner we end this war, the better. For the people of Ukraine, for the people of the Russian Federation, and those far beyond.
The Kremlin agreed in principle to UN and Red Cross involvement in evacuations from Mariupol. But Moscow isn't rushing to halt its offensive.
For diplomacy to succeed, there needs to be the political will for peace. But right now, there's little sign of that in the Kremlin. Vladimir Putin seems determined to continue the offensive he launched in Ukraine, at least until he can secure what he can present to the Russian people as a victory.
Russia threatens Japan with retaliatory measures over U.S. naval exercise. Russia has warned Japan it will face retaliatory measures if the Asian country allows an expansion of U.S. and Japanese naval exercises near Russia's borders. Wow. Russia has been openly talking about World War III for the first time since it launched the invasion against its neighbor on February 24th. Russia's deputy foreign minister says we see such actions by the Japanese side as a threat to the security of our country. We directly warned Tokyo about this through diplomatic channels. And then Russia has openly spoken about World War III for the first time since it launched the invasion against its neighbor on February 24th, saying there's a serious risk of World War III. As we know, Finland and Sweden is now set to apply to join NATO in mid-May. The United States is talking about military action if China establishes base in the Solomon Islands. Moldova's on high alert after being hit. China's also saying no one wants to see a world war.
Short of a nuclear risk, you testified before Congress a short time ago that the potential for significant international conflict is increasing, not decreasing. I'm quoting you. Since then, Russia has issued a diplomatic protest to the U.S. and NATO to stop its weapons shipments. Has that increase in military support, in your view, increased the danger of direct conflict between the U.S. and Russia?
I actually think it's the opposite. I think that what's at stake here is much greater than Ukraine. What's at stake is the security of Europe. This is the greatest challenge to the security of Europe since the end of World War II. And indeed, you could easily make the case that what's at stake is the global international security order that was put in place in 1945. That international order has lasted 78 years. It's prevented great power war. And underlining that entire concept is the idea that large nations will not conduct military aggression against smaller nations. And that is exactly what's happened here, an unprovoked military aggression by Russia against a smaller nation. So if this is left to stand, if there is no answer to this aggression, if Russia gets away with this cost-free, then so goes the so-called international order. And if that happens, then we're heading into an era of seriously increased instability. So right now, now is the time, and right now is the opportunity here to stop aggression and to restore peace.